Two Davids Walk Into a Bar is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Every punk in this town is scared stiff. They say he can't be killed. They say he drinks blood.
Is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City?
Vicky Vale.
Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for a living?
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar.
If the bat wants to play, we'll play.
Was that over the top?
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Batman will watch his beloved Gotham perish.
Bundle up, boys. There's a storm coming.
Listen to this lineup of TV shows currently on the air. Daredevil, Flash, Gotham, Supergirl, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Legends of Tomorrow, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Arrow, Preacher, Iron Fist, which I hope is not porn. And in the fall, we're getting more. The Defenders, The Gifted, The Punisher, Krypton, Inhumans, and that's just TV. At the multiplex last year, we had Captain America 3, X-Men 6, Batman vs. Superman, Deadpool, Doctor Strange, Suicide Squad, and Ninja Turtles 5. And already this year, we've had Wolverine 3 and Lego Batman, with Wonder Woman, Justice League, Spider-Man 6, and Thor 3 in the can. And if you had that many guys in your can, you'd be Thor too.
Oh, Superman. Oh, John. Oh, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad. Oh, Superman. Oh, John.
What movies cost today is like ridiculously large amounts. So you take a movie like Batman versus Superman, which is probably their biggest budget ever. I think
200 million,
350. When all is said and done, I think it costs like 350 when you factor in what it costs to make and the budget and promotion and everything. We're talking 350.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
So
oh
then
my
you
God.
take that. Okay, so
I don't understand this either.
But
because
but then it makes 800 and some million, which it should have made more because it like a lot of people didn't like it, and I'm not one of them. But I can see their complaints.
This doesn't look. Okay, this is the problem with me. With these new movies, and Batman versus Superman is one of them. Is that this is like $250 million, and it looks like a cartoon. I mean, it's just so, and everything is animated. The Wonder Woman trailers, I'm taking the family to see the movie on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
I'm not expecting much because it just looks like a bunch of animated stuff going on.
Here's what I've heard. It's actually, like, story-wise and acting-wise, it's so good that when they do throw, like, the sort of the video game aspects of it, you don't care because it's so well made and it's more character driven.
All right, we'll see. I mean, Gal Gadot looks really hot, so
she does, and
she's in Batman vs Superman, sort of introducing
she's the best.
The character.
She's probably the best part of that movie. Although
I thought she was with you. It's really cute. Yeah.
I will also defend Batfleck. I thought he was really good.
Batfleck.
I will not. Okay, I will not. Yes.
This is my central complaint with Batman and what Christopher Nolan has done to it. I feel like he's taken. You're probably going to disagree with me, and a lot of people would anyway. I will say, 2005, I really enjoyed the hell out of Batman Begins. I think it's the best movie out of the series. But as we move into Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, I feel that he took a lot of the fun out of Batman, and his idea of supervillains is to say that they have some kind of morality about them or immorality that is worth exploring in an intellectual sense, and he gives these people philosophies. When I saw Heath Ledger's Joker, I was appalled because the Joker is supposed to be insane batty lunatic kind of guy who just does crazy ass shit. I'm really kind of more into the Cesar Romero or Jack Nicholson versions of it.
Have you seen Suicide Squad?
I have not seen Suicide
You might
Squad.
like the Jared Leto. He's a little more just sort of weird and crazy.
That's the Joker, man. He's supposed to be weird,
but he's
crazy.
barely in it.
He's not supposed to be, okay, I'm going to give you this bomb, and you're going to have to blow up these people if you want to save your life. And it's like, why are you doing this? And Bane does the same thing. Bane was never meant to be a character like that. Bane was meant to be, actually, sadly enough, Bane is closer to his version of that character in Batman and Robin, where he's just like,
are you sure about that? Because I heard that Bane was, because I'm not a big comic book, but I heard Bane
is a later character. He was created around the time of the TV show. He wasn't really he wasn't like he wasn't part of Bob Kane's original canon.
Okay, so remember, people in the comments, this is all David Lawler saying all these blasphemous things about Bane and everything.
Bane is like, I mean, like, he's like, I will destroy you, I'm going to do this, and you're going to die. I am Bane. I'm here to destroy you. And meanwhile, everybody's going, what? Huh? Can't understand you.
I give it back to you. The people
gonna blow up your football players.
See, but I can see why they did. But see, here's what I feel like. These Nolan movies, it's almost like he's doing a Michael Mann film and then putting Batman and the criminals in there.
Very much. That the beginning of Dark Knight is so similar to the robbery in Heat.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing is Al Pacino. Great.
And you got your head all the way up it.
Yeah.
Don't waste my motherfucking time. Anyway, but that's Nolan is great, but he takes himself way too seriously. I think he's a fantastic director when he's doing a movie like Memento or what did I really like? Inception has its moments, but it's not a great movie for me.
There's the Prestige.
The Prestige I loved. I love The Prestige.
He's got a new movie coming out that looks really good. It's called Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, okay.
Which is something that I saw. I saw a movie. I think it was when I saw Rogue One, and it was probably better than Rogue One. They took like a segment of that movie and just showed it as like an IMAX trailer. They just showed like sort of a war, and it looked sort of Saving Private Ryan-ish.
Well, I think you really hit it on the nose. I think you hit it on the nose when you mentioned Michael Mann, because I think what Nolan wants to be is he wants to be like a mixture of Michael Mann and Ridley Scott. Maybe with a little Tony Scott thrown in.
Well, unfortunately, both Michael Mann and Ridley Scott are not making the best movies lately, so you know.
This is true. But that for me was my central issue with the Batman movies of late, because I felt like I really couldn't. It's sort of like the Lethal Weapon problem. It's like you remember specific moments about the movie Lethal Weapon, but when it comes to the plot, you really can't put it together in your head.
I remember there was Gary Busey. There was a naked woman that fell off a thing and landed on a car.
Little bits. I'm getting too old for this shit. You know.
You got Mel Gibson doing the Three Stooges stuff, which they then complete. It's like I noticed with the Lethal Weapon movies, every time something would work, they would beat you over the head with it in the next one.
Yes, that's
so
true.
There was more.
Like, oh my God! Like Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci was in Lethal Weapon 2 for like 10 minutes, and then they put him in half the movie, Lethal Weapon 3, and then he's like,
"Do I get a gun?"
But that's my problem with Nolan's movies, is I really don't remember much about them. Whereas I can quote you every scene from the first, at least the first two Batman movies. Batman Forever gets a little bit confusing too. So Batman and Robin was just a mess to watch. But anyway, I watch Gotham actually. I'm a big fan, even though it's kind of a terrible show. But it's so strange because it's so well made. It's beautifully shot. Gotham is. The lighting, the cinematography, the set design, all the technical stuff. This show should clean up at the Emmys every year. I don't know if it does or not. Unfortunately, the writing and the performances are terrible.
It started a trend though, because now you have like know the story behind. So now you've got Supergirl. So now
that's true.
Now
Supergirl's not terrible.
But now you got a spin-off, Krypton. So it's just going to be a bunch of whiny teens on Krypton.
I remember Bill Maher was complaining about that 2 weeks ago. He's talking about it's just comic books now. Comic book movies, comic book TV shows. That's everything.
Well, we had Star Wars ripoffs for forever. And not to skip over to different, comic book companies, but darn it if Marvel doesn't know what they're doing. Because
well, now they do. I mean, Marvel was, for a long time, Marvel was a joke in the industry. It was a company that was being bought and sold every 5 minutes. Stan Lee, I guess, didn't have the right kind of skills to promote until he actually started going out there and doing and promoting himself. So he was promoting himself. He's become a pop culture figure.
He's the goodwill ambassador.
Marvel, I mean, there's a lot of things I enjoy. Spider-Man was a big hit. Chris Cooling, our colleague Chris Cooling, put together a bunch of shows about the superheroes and stuff. And there was a couple of Marvel things in there that are kind of fun, a little bit cheap, because Stan Lee's the kind of guy who's like, what, you're interested in doing a TV show on Spider-Man? Well, how much money are you willing to give me? $5? Okay, I'll take it. It's yours.
Well, see, that's the thing.
That was back then, though.
Once they sort of came up with the plan, which actually started at Paramount, when they did Iron Man, when they started like that plan of what they were going to do, and they were going to build up to the Avengers, and then they have a couple successful movies, and then they say, "Hey, Paramount, you want to buy us?" And they go,
they had. Yes.
And then they pass, and so Disney buys them, and they have the unlimited resources of Disney money now, and they can do whatever they want, and so they're able to take, and they're such a creative. They haven't made a bad Marvel movie. And some could say like Thor 2 maybe, but even that has its goofy charms, and that's like the worst of all of them is still pretty good, and then they're either very good or excellent.
So would you really? I mean, I guess where your allegiances lie is more in Marvel, right? Because I'm more of a. I see myself more as a Detective Comics kind of guy.
Only because they have
Batman
more
and Superman to me are like the biggest superheroes.
Only because they have more product that's always been good. You always know you're going to get a good movie and you're going to be entertained. And I'm not like a comic book nerd boy, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going in as a moviegoer, but like when you have that Marvel stamp of approval, you know it's going to be good. Whereas DC, what do you get with DC? The only good thing you get the first Superman, Christopher Reeve, you get that, okay?
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with DC. It's all Warner Brothers and the Salkinds, really. You have the later Superman movies, which get increasingly crappy. Then you have like nothing. And then you have Batman, which again, a lot of these DC things aren't really about DC. They're more about Warner Brothers, who owns them, and they're like, we'll just slap the name on, and we'll just like, they don't have like a clear vision. Then they start to like, they say, oh, well, Marvel's doing this, so we'll start to create sort of a clear vision of what we want to do. We'll bring Superman back with Zack Snyder, unfortunately, and we'll do Man of Steel, which I hate less than I did. But again, coming from the Chris Reeve Superman to this, it doesn't quite.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't quite hit it. I can see what they're trying to do, which is why for some reason I like Batman versus Superman more, even though it's a continuation of that, only because it's so big and so loud and so much over the top. I like it for some reason. It's like an experience almost. I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but it has its moments, and I actually like it more. And also, I mean, I got like a new sound system, and I was cranking it up, and I'm like, this is the sort of movie you get it on Blu-ray. You get like a big screen TV, you get surround sound, and you just crank it up, and you watch destruction, and you watch Batman and Superman. Yes. And also, it's just stupid enough that you can make fun of it. There's stuff in it where you can make fun of it, whereas a Marvel movie, they make fun of it in the movie. They'll make fun of the stupidity of what's going on in the movie, and whereas these DC movies, you go.
Well, I would say, I didn't like Ang Lee's version of the Incredible Hulk. I like the sequel more.
Well, see,
but I like Eric Bana better as an actor than I like Edward Norton. So it's kind of like a
Incredible Hulk is one of those it's sort of a halfway Marvel movie where it's because Universal owns the rights to certain things, which is why you'll never see a Marvel Disney produced Hulk movie, but you can see the Hulk in different, like they can't legally do a standalone Hulk movie, but they can put the Hulk in any of the other movies. So you're going to have like the third Thor movie is going to have Hulk on it. And they're actually they're sort of working in the whole Planet Hulk thing. Like somehow Thor gets cast off on another planet, and then he meets Hulk, and it's sort of the end of the Planet Hulk storyline. So then they have to fight.
I'll tell you though, I did enjoy Nick Nolte in the first Hulk movie. I thought he was wonderful.
I mean,
I love his soliloquy that he has where he's talking about government corruption. I thought it was fantastic.
Think of all those men out there in their uniforms, barking and swallowing orders, inflicting their petty rule over the entire globe. Think of all the harm they've done to you, to me, to humanity. And know this, that we can make them and their flags and their anthems and their governments disappear in a flash. You and me, I'd rather die. Oh, that's your answer. And indeed you shall die and be reborn, a hero of the kind that walked the earth long before the pale religions of civilization infected humanity's soul. Go!
And I was like, but in the back of my head, I'm like, this isn't the Incredible Hulk. No. This is some writer who's really pissed off. You know?
But that is the movie that gave us the famous Nick Nolte mugshot, because I think he was shooting that movie and he was on something and he wandered over somewhere.
I love the look on his face in that mugshot. He's like, yeah, I did something. So what?
And then he's been basically playing that character for 15 years. He's just been kind of like weird, whacked out Nick Nolte.
Right.
It kind of gave him a new career almost.
But I will say, in Gotham's defense, it gets certain visual touches right. There was a scene with all of the bad guys all under one roof. You had, who were they? They were destined to become, because it's of course an origin story like we do all the time. So we've got the guy playing the Riddler, we've got the guy playing the Penguin, we've got the Catwoman, and we've got Poison Ivy, and they're all like under one roof. And
they
cocked the camera. Oh. They cocked the camera. They actually did like a little wink to the Batman show, which is awesome. I love.
No Joker yet.
No Joker. Well, there was a Joker character, and he was very interesting. He was a lot more interesting to me than Heath Ledger's character. But he is a complete, utter lunatic, and he becomes like this weird cult leader in a way, where he cuts his face or something. Actually, what happened? He loses his face entirely. Staples another face to his, and his mouth is all fucked up. So he, for some reason, develops a cult of worshipers, and they all do the same thing to their face, like Ellen Jamesians from like The World According to Garp. It's really fascinating what they did, but lots of nice visual cues in the show. Like I said, the people who make the show are artists, but the people who perform in front of the camera are not.
Well, I stopped watching after I think about like the first season, because there are so many good shows on TV.
It is hard to invest your time.
Yeah, I'm like, I have to start making those tough decisions. These are first world problems. Like, what show should I watch?
Yes. So these are white people's problems.
These are white people problems.
Yeah. It's like, which one am I going to watch? It's all comic books. And Bill Maher does have a point, because it gets to be a little tiring after a while. You got, what was it? Arrow. You got Supergirl. You got, there was a Batman show a while back that didn't last very long. It was called Birds of Prey. Do you remember that?
I don't even remember that one.
Birds of Prey. Dina Meyer was in it.
Was that the one where she was Catwoman, or was it?
I believe so. Birds of Prey TV series.
I think it was on like the WB when it was the WB.
It was on, it was on the WB. It only lasted 13 episodes, but it looked like it cost a lot of money. It was gorgeously shot, and this was back in the days when, you actually had to shoot instead of do everything in a computer. But
legend tells of a caped crusader, Batman, guardian of New Gotham, and his one true love, Catwoman, the queen of the criminal underworld. Their passion left behind something extraordinary. A daughter, Huntress. Half metahuman, she has taken up her father's mantle and fights to protect the innocent and helpless. Joining her in this struggle, Oracle, once Batman's protege, Batgirl. She was caught in the crossfire of the war between Batman and Joker. Now she fights crime a different way. A master of the cyber realms and trainer to heroes. Together, they had taken in Dinah, a metahuman herself, with powers that she is only beginning to explore. These three are the protectors of New Gotham, the birds of prey. My name is Alfred Pennyworth, and this is their story.
Actually, you have Barbara Gordon. Okay, Barbara Gordon is actually Batgirl, right?
Yeah.
And Dina Meyer played her, and she led this group of girls, hotties. One of them was the illegitimate daughter, if you will, of Batman and Catwoman, Helena, not Selena. And then you had somebody else named Dinah Redmond, a metahuman. I don't know what that means. Oh, she's like a touch telepath, they call her.
That's
something like that. But Ian Abercrombie, who has famously played Mr. Pitt on Seinfeld, played Alfred in this. Faithful butler to the Wayne family.
He'd probably be a good...
And Mia Sara played Harley Quinn.
Probably her last known role in anything.
Guess. But
she was late 90s?
Yeah, it was, let me see. No, it was October 2002 to February 2003.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Comic books.
I'm not a huge comic book guy.
Neither am I.
I got in. I was like into comic books, but more for the OCD collecting of them. And I got into them when I was like about 13, from about 13 to about 13 and a half. I was very much into comic books, and I got like I still have them. I have G.I. Joe. I have when they brought back G.I. Joe, like in the 80s. And I have G.I. Joe. I have the first like 10 issues of the Transformers comic book. I have the Secret Wars. I probably and I still have them. I just never sold them, and I don't. It's like I have no emotional connection to them, and I could probably sell them for a couple $100 maybe.
I have this is what I have. I'm not really, again, like you. I'm not a comic book guy. I didn't get nuts. Around 1987, I had a job when I was a kid.
I remember when I had a job.
I was like 14 or 15, and I had a job. It was just like a stupid little job. I got paid a couple of bucks a week or something like that. But whatever I got, I had a shoebox, a Nike shoebox, a big shoebox, and I bought comic books on occasion. So I bought a bunch. So there is like a pile of comic books that were purchased in 1987, and among them I have a few like Supermans. I have a few Batmans, stuff like that. I also picked up The Dark Knight Returns. I got that as well.
Well, when I was 14, 15, I had a box full of magazines, but it wasn't comic books. I know that.
I lived with my mother. She would never let me have anything like that in the house.
And it wouldn't stop me.
But it wasn't like a big deal to me. I just sort of bought them, read them, that kind of a thing. It was just like, and 87, I don't think anything was going on in that world except for Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Yeah, which I saw in the theater.
You saw that in the theater. Produced by Cannon. Yeah. Produced by Menachem and Yoram. And
all I can say is I hope Chris Reeve got paid up front.
Oh yeah, well I
heard he got $4 million, but I don't know if did he get that money? Did he get that money immediately? Because I hope he did, because they certainly didn't put it in the movie.
Well, I don't. Did they promise something to him and he wrote the story or something, right?
Yeah. So it's his fault.
They, from what I understand, he produced a movie.
Street Smart.
For
Street
Cannon
Smart. Street Smart.
Yeah, with Morgan Freeman in it, right? Mm-hmm. And the promise was, if you let me make this movie, I'll do Superman for you. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay, yeah, fine, whatever.
And I heard that either he was a huge pain in the ass or they were a huge pain in the ass when he was trying to make that movie. Probably both. It's like they wouldn't give him money and he wanted to do certain things and they wouldn't give him money because they didn't have any money.
He's, like Christopher Reeve is a guy who was a serious actor, and back then you didn't do things like that. They destroyed your career. Nowadays they make you more popular doing that stuff. It's interesting too. I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and he had Bill Burr on, and they were talking about how actors back in those days couldn't do commercials because it would destroy their career. So they would go to Japan and shoot commercials. So they showed this,
and you can look them up on YouTube. There's all
Charles Bronson doing an ad for a whiskey in Japan.
Arnold Schwarzenegger doing some sort of sports drink thing.
But nowadays, look at how much has changed. The movie stars are all over commercials now.
Well, they're not only on commercials. They're on commercials. They'll do a series. Like I just watched I'm watching the new season of Fargo. You got Ewan McGregor he's playing twin brothers. on that show. Ewan
wow.
McGregor. Now, is he A-list? Close.
It's hard. You know,
B+,
it's so
A-.
hard because I don't think we have stars anymore. I really think the star system...
Yeah, but it's a good thing in a way because it keeps you out in the public eye. Like, it's kind of more the British... Like, it doesn't... Like, they'll do a TV... They'll do a series and then they'll do a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just... It keeps them out there, and TV is so good now. I can see why they go there.
Yeah, do you remember how there was a separation of powers back in the 60s and 70s? You would have your TV stars and then you would have your movie stars, and you never mixed them. Now they're mixing all over the place.
And that's
You'll
not
find
a problem.
big stars on TV shows now. I'm not surprised anymore when I see a big name, a guy who was big, a guy or a girl who were big names to me, showing up on TV shows. It doesn't surprise me to see them anymore.
Or you'll watch, like, say, Westworld. You got Anthony Hopkins there.
Anthony freaking Hopkins is on a TV show.
And he's good on it, too.
And you know, so many other people pop. You know, it's just it's amazing what's happened. But you know, back in the days of, say, like when Batman was shot or something, Adam West didn't appear in like big theatrical movies or something like that.
I think he was like kind of on the rise as far as movies at the time or something. Like, he was a well-known actor. He was doing movies. He was probably doing like medium low movies, and then he'd do TV. But he was kind of like in a certain level. He was probably in that Shatner level, I would guess.
Maybe a little bit, maybe a little under Shatner as far as
so.
that.
But he's doing that, and then what does he do after this? He does. All I know him from is Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood. That's all I know.
And he had a mustache, and you know, it was very interesting.
And that was like 10 years after that. After Bat, this is like late 70s that he did that. So I don't even know what he was doing. I'm gonna guess he did a lot of guest star, like Love American Style, Love Boat, those kind of things. Fantasy Island, those kind of things.
I was trying to gain superpowers. 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 I was trying to gain
Superman. Oh, John. Oh, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad. Oh, Superman. Oh, John.